Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fireball with Ashleigh Mayfield. Before we dive in, make sure you go grab your phone, share this on all your social media platforms, and tag me. I always love to see your takeaways. Now, buckle up and brace for impact. Hey everybody, welcome back. I am super pumped to talk about this episode because it always ruffles someone's feathers. And sometimes I kind of like that. I kind of like raising the bar on you guys. I like taking your thinking to a higher level. I like raising the bar. Yes, I just kind of whistled like an old man, totally fine. But I love challenging people. I know that my gift is to be a leader that just kind of gets in the trenches with you and challenges you to a higher level thinking because I believe in the best in you. And Brené Brown says it all the time, clear is kind. And I genuinely do believe that. So let's talk about it today. Are you intentional with your time? A few months ago, I made a post on Instagram and it said, we all have 24 hours in a day. And wow! In fact, I think it was like a TikTok that I did or a reel. I don't remember, but it went bananas. That's all I got to say. Okay. There were a lot of people that were upset about it. A lot of people that were trying to lower the bar. I'm sure I've talked about that before on previous podcasts. But I often find that people are not intentional with their time. Now, this is coming from me as well. I always speak from a place that I need help with or something I'm walking through or something I have walked through. And for the longest time, I thought that I was busy because I was super unintentional with my time. Most people, go ahead and let me know, yes or yes, you're not documenting your time. Typically, the majority of people are not telling their time where to go. Therefore, they're overwhelming themselves with responsibility. The high achiever in them doesn't know when to quit, doesn't know when to stop. And because of that, we're not effective with our energy. We're not effective. We're not present. We're not focused. We're not all these things. And by the time we actually get moments where we can be intentional with our time, we're typically burned out, we're feeling lazy, or we just want to numb our brain down. And I've been there more times than I'd like to admit to you today. So today I want to ask you, are you intentional with your time? And I found 5 things, there's a bajillion more, but 5 ways that you can be intentional with your time when you feel like you have too much time or you're not overloaded or you have a free hour and you don't know what to do with it. Oftentimes, we're sitting our butt in front of Netflix, we're dumbing our brain down, watching a movie marathon. Look, I've watched The Last Dance, Michael Jordan thing 6 times, and I know that is very inspiring. I could sit my butt down and watch it every single week, okay? But there are other things that I can be doing with my time as well. Instead of scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram, let's put you to some good use. Let's make sure that you're writing these down. That way you can implement it. That way you actually grow and develop. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to be a better human, right? So here's 5 things. We're no longer going to lie to ourselves. We're no longer going to waste our time. We're no longer going to tell ourselves we're super busy when we're just not intentional. So here we go. The first one is personal development. Now, as a person who has been growing herself for over 4 years, I've been very intentional. You guys have heard me go on and on and on about this, right? Anywhere from reading books to listening to podcasts to watching YouTube videos to watching Michael Jordan, The Last Dance 6 times. I am constantly trying to better myself. I am constantly trying to develop myself personally. There are far too many people that say they're too busy to do this. They often put themselves on the back burner. My friend, sister, this is the number one thing that you should be doing. You should definitely be so intentional with your personal development. And I know a lot of times people are like, well, I'm reading the books, but how do I know if it's making a difference? If you're not personally developing, it's called personal development or personal growth. If you are not personally developing or you are not personally growing, then you're just reading, you're wasting your time. There should be something that you're learning, a takeaway, a nugget, something you're implementing. You should have some sort of internal progress from doing it. I have no grace for anyone that tells me they do not have time to do this. We know that as much as you might be able to do little things to help your external environment, true life change, true transformation comes on the inside, right? It's those places that you're not willing to go, or most people aren't willing to go, that you are willing to go. It's going at war with yourself. I just listened to a video that David Goggins said, and he said that. He said, peace does not come in these external yogas and stretches and all these things. Even those things are great. That's not where peace comes. Peace comes from you going at war with yourself, from you peeling back the layers of the onion. And that's exactly what personal development does. When you learn how to develop yourself from the guilt, from the perception of judgment, when you learn how to develop yourself through that shame that you've carried for years, that is when your life will absolutely change. When you learn what your strengths are and you learn how to hone in on them, sis, and you stay in that lane, that is when your life is going to change. And people who tell me that they do not have time to grow themselves, like hogwash, I call bullcrap on that, okay? You can't afford not to do this, especially with all the goals you have, especially with the dreams and aspirations that you want to reach out after and get in your life, right? The transformation, the influence, the impact, all of these things, you need to grow yourself. So now how can you be intentional with it? How can you find 15 minutes in your day? How can you read 10 pages in a book, non-negotiable, no matter what? Make this a stronghold. Every time you find that you've got extra time in your day, you've got extra time in your week, you're going to intentionally put your brain there, okay? You're going to put your emotional well-being, your mental well-being there, and you're going to start developing yourself. And again, this is something, I have so many episodes on podcasts about this, on YouTube videos about this. Please go be resourceful. Please go listen to that. I'm pretty sure one of my first episodes from my old podcast is why is personal development so important? You guys go back and listen to that. You're going to find like a bajillion nuggets, and I'm pretty sure it's with me and my husband, Jason. And it's always a good time anytime we both get in front of the microphone. But there's no excuse. There's literally no excuse. I don't believe you. I'm calling you out on this, my friend, because I love you. You need to grow yourself. The second thing that you can be doing instead of scrolling social media, instead of just wasting your time in la la land or being a bum on the couch, is creating content. I know if you're listening to me, if you're watching this, you are some kind of content creator, boo-boo. You either have a dream that you are in process of, you have mile markers that you're hitting, or you have a dream that you want to birth to become alive. We know that we are in a very visual, very social media driven world, and I love it. I am so here for it, okay? I'm not here to tell you social media is wrong in any way. Yes, it can get out of control. Yes, you might need to put those boundaries around yourself and those parameters. That way you're not like derailing yourself in any way, but you guys creating content for yourself, you can get ahead. Too many people, here's the deal. We're not productive with our time. We're not intentional with our time. And then all of a sudden we're overwhelmed, we're overloaded. And then we start like the complain game. I'm so busy. I'm unworthy. I can't do this. I'm a failure. No, it's that you're not intentional with your time and you tell too many people yes when the answer should be no. And you get too burnt out easy because your energy is going in a million different directions because you're not using a calendar when you plan, okay? And instead of putting your energy in all these things that aren't gonna bring you fulfillment or even happiness or peace, you can start putting your energy in the right places. And so a lot of you that follow me, you're small business owners, you're people that are in direct sales, MLM, you're doing some kind of, entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, and you can get ahead on creating content. If you're anything like me, I lived so much of my entrepreneurship life, as you would say, where I was just like waking up and going with the flow. Now, I'm a very go with the flow type person. I love that. But I also know that there's a lot of days where I don't feel like going with the flow. There's a lot of days where I'm not feeling it. I don't feel like getting in front of the camera. I don't feel like recording. I don't feel like doing a video or a Facebook Live or a TikTok or, training thousands of women that I do. I don't feel like it. I'm very feeling oriented. Maybe you're very thought oriented. You don't think you have what it takes. You don't think you're a good leader. You don't think that your product does what it does, okay? We all go through this. I do not care who you are. We all have days we don't want to do it. Now, the difference between good and great is the greats are just going to show up and do it anyways, right? They're disciplined. They're not going based on their thoughts or their feelings. They don't live life that way. But what if with the extra pockets in your day of time that you have, maybe you're waiting in the car line for your kid and you're going to be there 15 or 20 minutes. How could you create 2 or 3 posts and get ahead of your content? How can you make sure that you're planned far in advance? How can you make sure that you're organizing your selfies or organizing your statuses or recycling posts that you made a year ago? Like, can we all give a fat woot woot for Facebook memories? I'd be jacking all the statuses that I wrote a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I might have to tweak a few things, but I recycle that stuff. There's nothing wrong with like upcycling your content, right? But creating that content and getting ahead, because the last thing that you need to do is be so caught up in your day, your week, your month with all these trivial things like running errands, babysitting your neighbor's dog, mowing the lawn. None of these things are going to take you where you want to go, okay? Unless you're going to be like an assistant for someone, you're opening a dog watching service, or you're going to open up lawn care, okay? None of these trivial things that we often bog our time down with, we use it as excuses. We use it as a mean of self-sabotage. I don't know. But you creating content, you making sure you're showing up, you making sure you're consistent is what's going to move you forward. And you have time to do that. You might not want to do it. You might not feel like you're doing it. You might not think you're doing a good job, but you have time. And I assure you, getting ahead in your business is going to yield so much value, self-worth, mental capacity. Like, it is going to yield so much. You're going to feel so good about yourself when you get ahead. And so stop scrolling TikTok. Stop saying you're going to go to bed at 9 p.m. and then 2:31 a.m. you're still like cackling under your covers while your spouse is sleeping. I've not been there at all. And get ahead on your content. I promise you, you're going to feel so good once you do. So personal development, creating content. How about just resting? Why sometimes do we feel like we have to fill every single spot in our day? How many of you are not taking care of yourself? How many of you are not getting sufficient sleep? Now, resting does not mean you're researching. Resting does not mean that you're scrolling social media where you have the ability to get hit with comparison or insufficiency or inadequacies or whatever it is that you might be blinded by, whatever that skeleton in your closet is, right? That's not resting. I've tried to rest and scroll social media. Doesn't really work. Somehow I end up on her profile. Y'all know, y'all have a her, okay? Her profile that she drives me crazy, but sometimes I gotta know what she doing because now I gotta judge her. Okay, I know I'm not the only one. Don't be looking at me like that, okay? Y'all be judging people too. But that's not resting. Resting is like genuinely putting your phone down. Maybe you're laying there in your thoughts. Maybe you're meditating or praying. Maybe you're journaling. I don't know. Maybe you're just like taking a relaxing bath. For me, it looks like sitting in my massage chair for 20 minutes, okay? I love relaxing in the massage chair. But what can resting look like for you? Maybe it's a 20-minute cat nap. Now, I know you're like, 20-minute cat naps, that just sounds terrible. Trust me, I'm someone that like, you want to bet, boo-boo? You want to bet at nap time? I will throw down with a 3 or 4 hour nap, okay? And still sleep 12 hours at night, okay? I'm like a toddler. But 20-minute cat naps really are like scientifically proven. That's all you need, okay? You don't need to be sleeping for 3 hours because then you're really going to be up till 4 a.m. the next day. But resting. How can you intentionally plan a moment of rest? How can you prioritize yourself? How can you unapologetically sign out of social media? How can you just like sit with yourself and just rest? Maybe you express gratitude, appreciation for yourself. I don't know, but this is a way that you can be intentional with your time. So many of us, we're burning the candle at both ends. We're constantly on this like go, 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 high achiever. I need more, bigger, faster, stronger, Kanye, all the things. How can you just rest? How can you just be? Okay, just be. And we all need that. I don't care who you are. You're not the Energizer Buddy. We all need that. So plug yourself in. Maybe that's how you need to recoup. Maybe that's what's going to take you to the next level, is really making sure that you're just intentional with yourself. How about intentional family time? Okay, where are all those high achievers? Like, I want to hear from you guys where you like have the phone in your hand, but you're trying to listen to your kid explain something, or you're out at a restaurant and you can't put your phone down, or you're watching a movie as a family and you like locked and loaded in something that's going on in your business. If you have extra time in your day, just set a timer for 20 minutes. Put the phone down. Stop scrolling social media. Stop wanting to watch like the 15th episode of Derek dying on Grey's Anatomy, like McDreamy, we love you. Devastating. It's devastating. I just ruined it. If you've never watched Grey's Anatomy, I apologize. That was definitely a spoiler alert, but it was like 6 seasons ago. Y'all should have been watching this by now. But you need to be, you can be intentional with your family time. I know a lot of times as women and high achievers, we can put on that guilt in ourselves, right? And I wouldn't say that I'm a mom that struggles at a large capacity with mom guilt, but there are moments where I'm like, man, I want to do so much for my kids that I forget to just be with them. It's not the things that I give them, and it's the memories that I can create with them that are going to mean so much more, right? Especially as my girls are getting older. Our youngest is about to turn 8, and I'm just like, time really is flying by. And with that extra time in my day, just being intentional, and that literally, instead of filling your day with scrolling, some kind of electronic, or, disconnecting yourself, connect yourself. You're going to feel so good about that when you find that pocket of time and you just plug in a quick 10-minute conversation with your baby or with your toddler, or, making a mess with them or playing on the floor with them or whatever fills your cup. It's going to make you feel good. And being intentional with your time is going to alleviate that mom guilt. I think sometimes we feel like we have to be our kids' best friends, or we have to get every single moment, or we have to protect them, or we always have to be present. And we don't. You get to release that guilt from yourself. But I also know that we've got to try to find a balance for it. I don't really believe in balance, but making sure that we are present. It is important. Our kids need us. They need us to look them in the eye without, having the phone in the hand. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that, where I've told my kids 1 minute, or Jason's come in my office and I've had a whole conversation with him with my phone in my face, right? These things just happen, but you can change that. That's the point. And let me back up and just fix what I just said. They don't just happen. We all do it, but you're not intentional. And so if you be more intentional with your time, you really will have time for your family. And you just got to put that in, instead of just being burnt out, go find something that's fulfilling. And I know anytime I spend real time with my family, it genuinely is fulfilling, because I know that I feel like I'm being a good wife. I feel like I'm being a great mom because I'm prioritizing them. I'm letting them know they're important to me. I'm spending that quality time with them, and I'm literally like looking them in the eye, right? That's so important. How about the last thing? If you are in a capacity where you feel like you don't know what to do with your time, or you're tempted to scroll, all of you have someone you're influencing in your life. Now, for me as an entrepreneur, I have a team of thousands of ladies that I coach. And so oftentimes when we feel overwhelmed, or we feel like we don't have any value or no self-worth, the best way that you can find that in yourself is to give it to someone else. Be that belief system for someone else. So when you don't know what to do with your time, and when I don't know what to do with my time, I'll do meetings with my girls. I'll say, hey, I'm going to do 10 meetings, a 20-minute meeting each, back to back to back to back. Who wants it? And giving your time where you can pour into someone else, where you can train someone else, where you can help someone else advance in their life, that brings a level of fulfillment that scrolling social media can never fill that void, right? Giving of your time. Maybe it's in a way that benefits you. Maybe it's in a way that it doesn't. I do coaching outside of my organization, not often, but I do coaching for other teams in my organization, or in my company, where I'm able to just serve them. And maybe just a thank you or a pat on the back is all I get out of it. But it allows me to at least feel fulfilled. Like I've done something good with my time. I've been able to pour out. We are in this great world where we want to take in so much. How many of you are like that? You might have notebooks full of notes that you've taken from videos, from seminars, from teaching. How are you getting that out? It's easy to get it in, but how are you getting it out? Because you genuinely only know it and can walk in it when you can get it out. Maybe you're like me, you don't have notebooks of notes. I do have notes written down, but it's more like in my notes app, I have stuff, but I probably have 5,947 TikTok saved that are inspiring, reels, Instagram videos, Facebook Live. I've got all these things that are saved that are really inspiring. And they move me, they inspire me to be a bigger person. But how am I pouring that out into someone else? And giving my time to help someone else sit at the table, man, that just brings a level of fulfillment I can't explain. If you are in a position where you have a gift, you have a skill set, there's something that you're good at in your business, in your company, how are you pouring into the next person? If you've worked so hard to sit at the table, the least you could do is bring another woman with you, right? Bring someone else to the table with you. It's a lot of times we look at women and we're like, oh, they're winning. Something's wrong with them. They cut corners. They just got lucky. Like, we've got to stop looking at each other like that. And we've got to realize, because she did it, I can. She's showing me it's possible. She's inspiring me to do that, right? And you giving of your time is literally going to do that. There are people that look up to you. I don't care if you have one person that follows you. I don't care if you're like, Ashleigh, I'm the lowest person at my job. Okay, you can still make an impact in the environment. You can still make a difference by going and training someone or pouring into someone or teaching someone something that you already know. What is your strength? What do you bring to the table? What is that value on the inside? Sometimes we don't see that until we're willing to walk in it, right? We can think all the things, we can feel all the things, we can feel unworthy, unqualified, inadequate, all the things. But until you're walking in it, you might not be able to see that full value. But I'm telling you, training someone, pouring into someone, developing others, there's something so special about that. And for the longest time, I had the hardest time doing that. Not with my own organization, but with other people. I felt like if I opened up my arms, that I was going to like spill all my dirty secrets. And I don't know, it's really twofold. One, I feel like I have a responsibility to share with other people because I do want to see other women succeed, regardless of what area that is in their life, right? I'm rooting for other women. I want them to cross their finish lines because I find joy in seeing other women win as well, even if it's not in the same realm of what it is that I do. On the other side of the coin, I feel a responsibility to not give it all away because I also know there's so much life change and transformation that comes from you figuring it out for yourself. No one can save you. I cannot save you. No matter if I start helping you cut corners, sometimes that's actually going to do more damage to you, right? And so there's like this realm that I live in that's like this weird dichotomy that I really don't know how to explain, but I'm hoping you feel me on it. But what I do know is I do have the ability to give of my time. I do have the ability to pour into at least one person, to train someone, to develop someone, to allow them to go a little bit further by riding on my coattail or standing on my shoulders, by leaving them better than I found them. And if you're in a position where you feel like you've got time, but you don't know what to do, don't be that leader. Don't be that person that's like, well, I told them so they should get it, or I showed them how to do it so it should make sense to them. Sometimes people need you to spend time with them. Sometimes people are fighting their own demons. They don't have the same vision as you, and they don't have that belief system that you have, and you get to be that belief system. You get to be that front row cheerleader for someone else in their story. And man, it makes such a huge freaking impact for people. Like, has anyone ever done that for you? Has anyone ever taken you under their wing where there was like no benefit for them? They just did it out of the kindness of their heart because they believed in you enough. I've had so many women that have done that for me. Not so many, but even in my journey in the last 4 years, I can name like, 3 or 4 women that did that they didn't make a dime off me. They didn't owe me nothing, but they were willing to pour into me. And because I saw the value that I offered. And what's so great is anytime I just need to fill my time, or I am not being intentional with my time, but I need to be fulfilled, instead of going off in these rabbit trails and down all these lanes, I can be that for someone else. I can go train someone. I can empower someone. I can develop someone to be better than what I found them. So my friend, I want to challenge you, take an inventory of your time. You're not going to do this. I'm already telling you, like, if 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people listen to this, there might be like one person that does this, okay? Go take an inventory of your time over the next 7 days. I love the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and he talks about this. There's a compound effect. Most people won't take inventory of their money. That's why they stay in debt. Most people will not take inventory of their time. That's why they overwhelm their schedule. They're no good to anybody because they're the jack of all trades, master of none. And they wonder why they're constantly on the hamster wheel of life, because they're not willing to be intentional with their time. So I just want to challenge you today. Will you take inventory of your time over the next 7 days? Will you get out that calendar? Will you mark every single minute? And will you be able to identify how much time you actually waste? You waste a lot of time, whether that is you're not showing up intentional, you're not being focused, you're saying yes to things you should say no to. We've talked about this so many times, but I just gave you 5 tips that you can be intentional that are going to bring you fulfillment. In my opinion, they're going to bring you fulfillment, or they're going to advance you in a way. And so that's my challenge for you, my friend. I believe in you. I love you. Control your time. And I promise you, your whole life will change. Until next time, my friend, talk to you soon.